You are not living creativity to your full potential. And there is a very important reason for this. All the ideas and concepts and misconceptions that we have about creativity could be the reason why you are not even trying to do creative work. There are a lot of myths and misconceptions about creativity. There are the possible causes of the self-sabotaging mindset that is not letting you move on with your creative ambitions. Among those, there are 5 that I think are the most important. So here we go. 5 myths and misconceptions about creativity. Myth number 5. Creativity is for artists or to produce art. The creativity and artistry are not the same, and they are not even necessarily related. I have seen a lot of people with amazing artistic skills, but they are not creative at all. And vice versa. I have seen people with amazing creativity, but they don't have any artistic skill whatsoever. So artistry is just an instrument, one of the many avenues that creativity uses to express itself. But you can express creativity in many different ways, not only with art. Myth number 4. Creativity comes from an external source of inspiration or from a connection with the universe. This is one of the oldest and most misleading myths about creativity, and it has its origins in the earliest times of human civilizations. Creativity is without a question one of the most elevated forms of human expression. It makes us capable of producing beautiful artwork, amazing ideas and solutions. In ancient times, when we didn't have an understanding of how the brain worked and how the creative process worked, the idea of mighty forces providing us with the gift of creativity was not only romanticized, but it also seemed logical. Unfortunately, those ideas have been carried on for thousands of years until the present day without any kind of proof or evidence. Myth number 3. There are either people left-brained or right-brained. This is a misconception that has been debunked by several scientific studies, and yet today is still promoted among creativity coaches, educators, and facilitators. You can even find in the internet a lot of websites with tests to identify if you're either left-brained or right-brained. This idea has a base on a real scientific study by psychobiologist Roger Sperry, who in 1968 discovered the independent functions of the brain hemispheres. This, along with the fallacy that we only use 10% of our brain capacity, is not only fake, but very discouraging to a lot of people who think they cannot be creative because they are left-brained and too logical. Myth number 2. Creative people are a different kind of people. Creative people are no different than anyone else. They are not more capable, more intelligent, better educated, or with more opportunities. They are exactly the same as you and I and the rest of us. The only difference is that they have identified a field of interest, developed a passion for it, and found the drive to pursue it. The good news is that all these attributes can be learned, cultivated, and developed by anyone. It takes a lot of consistent work and discipline, but it's totally achievable. Creativity is not a talent. It is a natural ability of the human brain. And that takes me to the myth number 1. Myth number 1. Creativity is a talent you are born with. Not everybody is creative. Creativity is not a talent given to a select group of privileged individuals. It is the most fundamental aspect of the human experience. To say that you are not creative is as much as saying that you are not a human. If you are capable of making a joke, solving a simple problem, or finding your way out of a difficult situation, you are being creative. The process that takes place in our brain to produce a beautiful symphony or a work of art is not very different than the process to solve an accounting problem. The only difference is the outcome. Creativity is the product of developing the habit of focused thinking on a specific task or field. And this ability can be diversified to perform in different activities, from the most logical like science and mathematics to the most artistic like art, music, or literature. All these wrong ideas about creativity have been embedded in our culture and our education for a very long time. And now they are part of our current way of thinking as a society. Like I mentioned before, these are not the only misconceptions about creativity. Although I think these are the most important, I know there are many others that are preventing you from trying to be more creative. So leave your comments and tell me, what are those misconceptions and myths that you think are preventing you from being more creative? If you want to start developing your natural creative abilities, it is very important that you identify these beliefs and get rid of them as soon as possible. For a while now, you have been feeling a bit frustrated, bored, and with a consuming lack of motivation. Especially since the pandemic started, you have been feeling out of options. Maybe you have been contemplating the idea of reinventing yourself at a professional and personal level, even considering doing some creative work. But as soon as that comes to mind, you get discouraged by that awful voice in your head. What are you doing? Stop it with these stupid ideas. You should get back to work. Get real. You are not a creative person. Creativity is an amazing topic that is always surrounded by myths, misconceptions, and fallacies. These misconceptions can be very detrimental to our creative abilities and very discouraging for those who want to explore their creative potential. That's why it's important that we debunk this myth, get rid of these misconceptions, and start our creative journey with a clean mind. This is my mission with this channel. I want to offer you all the tools that you might need to start your creative journey in the most effective way. If you're finding this information useful and beneficial to you, please consider supporting this channel. Subscribe, like, and comment. In that way, I can give you more tools and resources for you to unlock your creative potential.